Hello and welcome to another recording of Connecteam, where we now are going to chat about the admin side of this awesome system. If you can see my screen and you're an admin, it looks very familiar. You'll notice that there's a couple extra things on my side, but um, it's because this account has access to all of them. If you wish at any point to have access to more, please contact whoever the home account is set to, or you can message them. Remember, there's a chat function in Connecteam um, in case you want to try out the clock, the job scheduler, or documents, anything extra. You'll just need to have access to it. So this is how it looks. The main page is pretty self-explanatory. Means your activities, you may have some alerts. You can even see who, like, on your side, you'll be able to see who are the new people connecting with items. And then you'll see, the engagement from your project. But you as an admin will only have access to the staff members that were set for your project. When a user is added into the system, they get automatically put into something called a smart group for your project. The smart groups are they're pre-done over here, and we have smart groups for each position and also for the projects. So yes, as admins, you'll be an admin for the specific project, and you'll have access to the staff in that account. So yes, that's pretty much the general idea with users. Now remember, if you want to add more users, there's going to be a link on the ND website where you will be able to click it. It'll be this link and fill out. I can show you how it looks. And fill out your new staff members' information. They can do it themselves. It's super simple. It's only ask for the basics for them to be join. They'll submit it, and once it's submitted, it'll be sent for approval, and the main account will get a notification on their phone, and then they'll be able to see here that there's a user waiting to be approved. That's kind of what the process is going to be, because before, when you had access to add your own staff members, you will also get emails of everybody else that's trying to get into the app. And it got a little confusing. So the simplest thing that we're gonna do is just your staff members will click the link on the NDE website and send basically for approval to be joining into Connecteam. So once you click users, you should be able to see the ones from your project. It'll say their positions, and if you want to edit any of their personal information, let's say a recruiter goes to be a service provider or vice versa, you'll be able to manage that as the admin for those sections. If you need anyone from your project to be an admin because you want them to have extra access, then you would go here, and I believe you can add them yourself, but if you cannot, just message the main account and they'll be able to do it for you. But that's the users and smart groups. Now, the big thing that we use Connecting for is for the forms. And there's many forms. So I'm going to quickly run through how to add a form and then talk to you a little bit more about templates. So the first thing here, to add a form, you'll see that there's 3 different sections. I want you to think of these like folders. So in this folder, we have the forms for services. In this one, we have the forms for recruitment. And in this one, we have the forms for all staff. I am very aware that some people were doing forms for everybody in one of these 2 folders, and that's okay. I can move those manually from here, or the home account can, but it's not a problem as of now. I think in the future, there's going to want to be restructuring of this, but we added this late in the game because we were like, oh, you're right. There's some forms that definitely, like a PD log, right, for all your staff, the staff survey, those kind of need to be for everybody. So it's less confusing if they're in their own folder. So just an FYI, that's probably something that's going to be done in the future. But for now, it's okay the way you have it. It's not going to break anything. So let's go ahead and add a new form. So by adding a new form, we click Add New. There's 2 options. Start from scratch or use a template. For the sake of this training, I'm just going to say start from scratch. And the first thing we want to do is title our form. So let's say I want to make sure that I title my forms, and you should too, with your project first, and then whatever. PD form. That's the first thing you want to do. Now, if from here you want to save it and move forward, you can, but you'll see why I think it's better to finish it and then move on. To add questions, just like Google Forms or on Microsoft, here it's called add fields. If you click on here, you'll see that you'll have options to just put a description, such as, excuse me, this is a description. You can edit it, you can make it bold. Like if you want to have something to be on your form prior, here's the preview to them filling out questions, you can, or you want to put like, hey, please make sure that after every PD you fill this out. And then you can go ahead and add another question. As you can see, we have drop-down questions. We have questions that can be answered only by numbers, open-ended, which this one and this one are the ones that I use the most. Then a simple yes or no answer. You can have a way to scan items, which means that with your phone, you take a picture when you get to that question. You can select images. I haven't played with that one. Locations, I haven't played with that one either, or audio recordings or task. But play with it. You never know. Remember, you only have access to the forms in your project. There's only one place where you can cause a little bit of harm, but here, trust me, you can't break anything. So play with it, date, you can rate things and so on and so on. But for now, we're gonna try drop down. So the question is, let's say what kind of PD is this? Or was it? That's fine. Let's say services or IDNR. Let's say that's my question. Now, another real little tip, I say you number them because this will help you keep organized. I know that it'll get a little messy when you start adding, which I'll show you, conditional questions, which means that based on your answer, another question comes up. But when you hover over one of your questions over here, you won't know which one it is over here. And when you hover over here, nothing is telling you. So when you have 30 questions, you'll see that this is helpful to number them because you'll be like, oh, number one, and instead of looking at each number of how many questions you have. That's the best way to keep track of these. Now, let's say I want to add another question. I'm going to add an open-ended. And I'm going to add why. Now, obviously, I want it to be required. Then I want to click here, show this field only if. This is when you start getting into the conditional, the conditional depending on what answer. So I press what kind of PD is this. Let's say if I press services, I want to know why. Because services is cooler. Ooh, no, I'm just kidding. Just let's say for the sake of now, services, if condition, and then I can press confirm, and then it'll create the question. Now the question is here, but it's not here because this is the preview of how it would look for someone else, for a user. So now let's say they press IDNR, then that's it. Nothing comes up. But if they put services, ta-da, it says why, and then we can type it up and then finish the question, finish the survey, the form. So it's that simple to add these items. You can do an image download, documents. One way that this has been used, it's by, it's so people can show pictures of what they're doing. Now, let's say you're working with a kid and you have the kid like school readiness, do some sort of work and you want them to take a picture of them. This will be a good place to place it if you're doing your service log. And at the end of the year, you can download those. So that's another way this can work. But yeah, that's how this is. It's super simple. Now, if I go here, one way that I also started when I did some forms is I kind of added extra items. So I would put 1.1a, there you go, 1a or 1.1. It doesn't matter as long as you know what you're doing. That way I know that it's based on question 1, and then I still keep them organized for me to be able to edit them in the future. Now, let's say I want to save this. If you click save as a template right here, you will be saving it into the templates for the whole state. And you really don't want to do that because it won't save your work that you're doing right now. So I want to click save, not save as a template. I want to click save. So click save, and then it'll send me to a location where I can assign this form. We can just press close, and then it'll save it as a draft. But I want to continue and assign it. Remember, don't really use smart groups because, or only if you're applying something to all your staff, then you want to use smart groups. But for this example, I'm adding individual staff members. So I'll click here, click next. Now let's say I'm going to add it to myself, and then I'll click next. And then I can edit the way that this is going to be posted as. I will tell you from the get-go, you don't need this unless you really want someone to see something. I'm assuming we're small enough where you'll be able to tell your staff like, hey, there's a new form coming. You know, you can add the reminders if you wish, but I think they're just going to be popping up more. It's not needed, up to you. And then I click next, or I can schedule the publication. I can edit this and it would be going to your phone. So let's say I click next, gives you an example of how it's going to be, press confirm. And then your users will get an automatic notification. You can kind of see on there that I have that the notification came up. I don't know if it's clear enough. It's that quick. And then I can click it on my phone. It'll open right away. And then it'll actually send me directly to that form. As you can tell, it was super simple form. I can complete it in 2 seconds. Here, I'll complete it right away. Oh, I gotta add a picture. I gotta add a picture, so I'm gonna take a picture of this. Use the photo. It's loading. Send. I did complete it on my phone. I'm gonna refresh it right here. And ta-da! I have an entry. So I can come down here and look at if my people have filled it out, when the last time it is that they filled it out. Click show entries. And then here you have 2 different locations to look at your data. The first one is all the entries individually, and the second one is looking at a summary of your question. So I would click on this one, and it'll give me a summary of like out of all my responses, which is 100% of them, one of them, they were all for IDNR. I think this is pretty cool because for meetings, for services, you could be like, oh, what services are we providing this last week? What are the grades that we're focusing in? What grade needs a little bit of love? So I think it's a great tool that can be used on a day-to-day even as we plan to provide services. Another way is that we write with IDNR. It helps track what areas we're really putting our efforts in. But yes, this can be played with many ways. Now, if we look at the response here, there's a section all the way to the right called Manager Fields, and it's these questions right here. These 2 questions can be edited to your liking. So for example, if I want to have a location to confirm that I've added a service to MIS 2000, I can put it here as done. That way I know that this one has been put into MIS 2000. That's the way that service data specialist that I know started doing, and that's what I learned. You can add notes. So this is a place where you can do that to keep track. But also you can just export it and do it the old-fashioned way on Excel. If you click export, it'll give you an Excel file. See, downloading. It came out. Here it is. EC9 PD form. And then just like the olden days, right? Here's Excel. And you can update it right here and keep track of these documents. If you have a home document, you can copy and paste it into it. I mean, there's endless ways to do this. I think it's good to allow people to just be free and trying things out. I don't think there's a wrong way, but I think someone's going to figure out even a better way as time goes on. But yeah, here you can click on the picture. That's how simple this is. That's a quick run through the data. Now, let me show you how to create your forms that are templates that you should be using. So for example, Sorry, let's go back to forms, and then let's click add new. This time I'm gonna use a template. So here you can see the templates. For example, we have a few examples of, well, this one I added it because someone else needed it. But you have these two that shouldn't be there. And the area that I said that you could cause harm is in here. Every admin has the capacity to delete templates. I don't know why, but please do not delete any template here. If it's yours and you accidentally put it in there, you can delete it, but be sure that it's yours because these templates were created um, and are ready for people to use. I know that I had some backup saved, and we can always recover it because it already happened. Some people deleted some, but we learned. That's what progress means. You get better, you learn. We already made those mistakes, so please do not delete these. Now, for this example, let's say we're creating the IDNR log. So I click on that, select this template. Don't forget, first thing is to retitle it. So I want to make sure that it is set to my project. So ESU9 recruitment daily log. The first question that has to be edited is the first one, is the project. So in order to edit a question, you click the little pencil and then you go into the questions. And then here I would put ESU9. I would confirm, and then my form would be finalized. I can go in here and edit it. As you can see, they're numbered, so I can come over here and look at the number and look at which one it is. Play with it. The data that was put in, or the questions that were put in here were thought through. So know that it's not just like, oh, we want to know this for fun. No, all of this is just for a reason. Feel free to add whatever you need, but I would try to not to change it too much. And that way we all have consistent data across the board. So I can save it as a draft. I can just close it, which for this sake, I'm just going to delete it. Now that's how to add forms. If you are needing help troubleshooting, um, make sure that you try to use Chrome. Chrome is a good one that I had a lot of less issues. If something's not clicking, try to refresh. That happens where the system, maybe a lot of people are using it. Like it's not just us. I believe a lot of people use the system. It's really nice. Make sure to clear your cookies. Make sure to close your tabs. Sometimes you got to reset your computer. That's a good thing. But yes, those are a couple things you can do when Connecteam's not really responding. But if you want extra things that you want to do on the system, make sure to contact the main account and they'll be able to give you access and to play around with things. Do not click add new to these areas because you're getting a new folder. We don't want to do that. It'll get kind of messy. But just know if you want to add a new form, you would click here, add new form, under your forms folder section. I have a couple projects trying a couple things. If anything on the left you have questions on, there will be some videos on those functions here. So be sure to go through those. Yeah, and if you have any questions, let's use each other. We have had a lot of good talent using it already. You can see there's a lot of projects with a lot of entries. So make sure to reach out to them. Don't be afraid. We were all colleagues. So let's be sure to just push forward together. But that's it for the admin side. Please be sure to play with it. You'll be learning more and more as time goes. But yeah, well, thank you. Have a good one.